I've been a professional coach for the past 18 years, which means I have thought a lot about balance. Clients often come talking about balancing needs and wants, balancing the present and the future, balancing what they want and what other people want. And of course, there's the sort of cliche but very important work-life balance. The more I meditate on the concept of balance, the more I realize how much it's a universal aspiration. We're always looking for equilibrium. It's what we crave on a physiological and psychological level. The message gets planted in us as kids with, among other stories, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We bristle at the extremes. We try to alleviate tension, and we crave the just right sweet spot. Not too hot, not too cold. We look for the yin-yang, the salty and sweet, peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and chocolate, peanut butter and marshmallow cream for the perfect fluffer nutter, because clearly a key ingredient in balance is peanut butter. This longing for balance carries over from food into life. We can't always define what balance is, but we feel it when things are out of whack. And I'd be remiss if I didn't remark on how out of whack they are on a societal level. We find equilibrium in our news bubbles and hanging out with our birds of a feather, where we feel like we're on solid ground. We say we want more balanced reporting from the media, but at best, that makes us grapple with uncomfortable, inconvenient truths, and at worst, it represents sane washing and legitimizes insanity. I'm not so sure that what we need is more balance. What we need is more honesty and more truth. On a personal level, it's up to each of us to decide what balance means, what it looks and feels and sounds like. In my experience, balance isn't out there, focused on giving equal time or energy to life's pursuits. It's more of an inside job, a mindset that permeates daily life. Balance, for me, is laughing wholeheartedly when something is funny. It's saying, I love you, when the thought bubbles up. It's admiring the brilliant blue sky above the Meijer parking lot as I walk out with my groceries. It's being fully present for my cat's happy meows and happy purrs and my dog's squirrel chasing dreams. It's feeling awe when I have a random moment of clarity about how amazing and mind-boggling life really is. Balance is awareness of these slices of the sublime alongside the muddle of the mundane. It's integration and wholeness. It's also about agency. It's remembering I have choices, and those choices determine if I am grounded and centered or if I'm off balance. I'm convinced that imbalance comes in part by subverting our agency and forgetting that we choose our mindset and that we have choice about our actions. And the irony is that the quest for balance is disorienting. It's an uncomfortable journey. To be the true you is vulnerable. To embrace your full agency means to say yes and no based on that vulnerable true you. Balance can be a tightrope between two skyscrapers, or it can be a highway that traverses the Manistee National Forest. It can be controlled or abundant, risky or generative, or maybe something in between those extremes. You know, that just right sweet spot. My invitation to you in this meditation is to determine what balance is for you and to be intentional about cultivating it and navigating the inevitable and necessary tension. I'm going to borrow from the song and say that part of balance for me is to dance with the ripples and go against the grain. It's also an invitation to notice where we feel off balance and quiet ourselves long enough to discover what's throwing us off, and not to be surprised if the answer is just a little bit more peanut butter.